Hi, at this time of year we often have a glut of courgettes in our allotment. I have yellow courgette which has come from our allotment and a multitude of other courgettes which have been given to us by friends. So I thought that I'd share a couple of ways that we enjoy eating courgettes, which are hopefully new to you. I thought that we could start with a salad which is made up of courgette with a peanut and lime dressing with lots of fresh herbs. If you're making this in advance, I'd recommend making the dressing first, as it does contain tamari, which is slightly salty and it'll soften the courgette. So really you want to be putting the dressing on the courgette right before serving. I'm going to just take out 2 courgettes here, which would serve a couple of people or 4 people as a side perhaps. And I'm going to start to shred them into a bowl. You could use a vegetable peeler, you could use a spiralizer, or you could just use a knife to get nice shreds. I have this tool which I find really useful. I bought it in Cambodia. It's what's often used to make papaya salad. And I'm just gonna start getting some of these nice ribbons of courgette. I'm using a yellow one and a green one, so I get some variation in colour. Just going to go all the way around, shredding the courgette. We now have these nice ribbons of courgette and we can make our dressing for them. I'm not going to use too much garlic, maybe 1 small clove. You could crush the garlic with a little salt on the chopping board and mix the rest of the ingredients together, but I'm going to make it in my pestle and mortar. So that's 1 clove of garlic. Got a nice juicy lime. I'm going to chop that in half and just want quite a lot of lime. So I think I'm going to use the juice of a whole lime. You can always adjust seasoning at the end with a little more lime, a little more tamari. We'll go for the juice of 1 lime. I'm going to add about 2/3 of a tablespoon of tamari. And I've got some maple syrup here. You could use another sweetener, honey. And I'm just going to add a teaspoon of maple syrup because you don't want it to be overly sweetened. Now we've got our peanut butter. I think it's quite nice to use a crunchy peanut butter, and this one's good because it doesn't have too much of a pasty texture. But I'm going to add about a heaped tablespoon of that peanut butter. And I'm just going to stir that in. Yum. Now the lime and peanut dressing's ready. I'm just going to tip that onto the shredded courgettes. I'm going to get my hands in there and give that a nice quick massage in. Now we're ready to add our herbs. I've got some lovely fresh mint from the garden and some fresh basil here. I'm just going to strip some of the leaves from the mint, which smells wonderful. It smells very limey and minty in here. So we want quite a lot. Be generous with the herbs. Got a good handful of mint leaves there. And I'm just going to roughly shred them. Add them to the courgettes. And same with the basil. A good little handful of basil there. I'm just going to roughly shred that as well. Now at this point it could be nice to add some chili flakes. We have lots of nasturtiums in the garden at the moment and they give a nice peppy punch. So I'm just going to add some nasturtium flowers to the courgette salad. And I'm just going to stir in all those herbs. You've got the crunchy peanuts, tangy lime, and the nasturtiums there with the mince. Really good in there. There we go, we've got a peanut and lime courgette salad. Just going to tip that into a bowl. Lovely. This would be great served as a side with some ginger fish or any meats, or just as part of a veggie platter. Great to take to a barbecue. Just going to top that with a sprig of mint, some ripped basil leaves, and just pop a little nasturtium on top. There we go. Now I'd like to show you how to make a courgette and nasturtium gremolata salad. A gremolata is made up traditionally of garlic, lemon rind and parsley. I'll be adding nasturtium leaves to mine. They grow great alongside courgette and they seem to naturally go together in dishes. So I've got some lemon rind grated from an unwaxed lemon. I'd say that's about 2 teaspoons of lemon rind there, and I'm going to use 1 regular courgette and 2 smaller courgettes. So I'd say that's enough for 2 people as a side, and you can just kind of multiply the recipe if you want to make more. First of all, we'll crush a clove of garlic. You really can vary the herbs which you use in the gremolata. Parsley is traditional, but we don't have to be. Just going to add a pinch of salt to that small garlic clove. Then I've got a handful of parsley, which I'm just going to fairly finely chop. Parsley that can go in with garlic. Just going to bruise it. It doesn't have to be a complete paste. Just want to break it down, especially the stalks. Then I'm going to pick about the same, about a small handful of nasturtium leaves. And I'm going to finely chop that. It's nice and soft, so this will break down quickly in the pestle and mortar. There we go. Gremolata is usually used to top rich stews and meaty dishes to break up the rich flavour. But we're going to loosen our gremolata with a couple of tablespoons of good extra virgin olive oil so we can use it as more of a dressing. Now I'm going to cut the courgettes so they can go on the griddle. What we want is fairly chunky strips, not too delicate, so they can not disintegrate on the griddle. So we're just cutting lengthways. I'd say they're just under 1 centimetre strips of courgette. And now I'm just going to massage the gremolata into the courgettes before putting them on a hot griddle. It's really nice on a barbecue to cook on fire with this. Really great for camping, but a hot cast iron griddle's really great too. It's that lovely charred flavour that you get. And now we're just going to put the pieces of courgette onto the really hot griddle to get some nice charring on there. And you don't want to move the courgettes around too much because you won't get as much charring. Put your char grilled gremolata courgettes on a serving dish. Spoon over any of the remaining gremolata mix. Sprinkle with a few younger nasturtium leaves, a few nasturtium flowers, a small handful of roasted chopped hazels, and about 50 grams of feta cheese crumbled over. There we have it. This is a gremolata courgette and nasturtium salad. I hope you've enjoyed my courgette recipes. If you'd like any more recipes or tips from me, do take a look at me, Pia Castleton, on Instagram. Have a wonderful online festival of thrift.